A somewhat pretty park, perhaps being restored from an earlier time when many of the trees were destroyed. And there our warehouse area that we'll migrate back toward. With this map on the wall, you can see that little river that runs through the park ultimately at the top. And then to the left, below it, the 4 big central market buildings. And then the rest are, you can see the lines of what are warehouses. Entire collection of old wooden buildings. You can see they were warehouse capable, at least this one was. This one residence, probably business on the bottom. Looking way down there towards the river, get a little sense as we go inland of the warehousing size of this area and how important a port, ocean port this was, with its interior migrating river. Is that these buildings may well be the same looking buildings if we could remove all of the plaster from the outside. Now this is all an extension of the central market. So on the weekends this could be again jammed with shopping. Or two, you can live right in the middle of it. Feel the brick behind these facades, just yearning to get out and be one of the guys. The whole area that I'm walking through here is not at the actual central market where those 4 buildings are. It's to the right of it a bit from where we are, in a separate area defined by that building, if you will. From my pans, perhaps you get a sense of how huge this market is when it's full-born operation, like probably Saturdays and Sundays. Where I walked into the marketplace along the side of the building, and what we'll try and do is enter this first building over here. It's a mixture of vegetables and fruits and flowers. Amazing about markets like this, apparently regardless of where you find them, in Europe, in Asia, and South America, is the huge redundant volume of the same fruit, the same vegetables. Your pastries greet you as you first walk in. That's deadly. Here are just multiple refrigerated cabinets filled with what we would find in one location in a major Albertsons or whatever. Consider all of the cultures, Russian, German, Lithuanian, Estonian, Teutonic Knights and so forth that have ravaged through this countryside, leaving their people, their sperm. No surprise that you would have an incredible diversity. Everything in the way of foods. Bakery at this end of the building. And we'll stop here for a moment and take a look at this infrastructure. These are the ceilings of what I'm guessing were 4 dirigibles, unless there were 2 really huge long ones. But you can see, relatively speaking, what a practical idea it was to take those apart and rebuild them for these markets using that infrastructure. Comes more. Here we have a real good view of the inside of these buildings. Cavernous is an appropriate word. But notice the infrastructure for moving air in this place. Various dark breads that this country is known for. Probably each ethnic group, the Russians, the Germans, that are in this country appreciate a specific or more kind of bread that reflects their culture, or sugary pastries. And whatever else will fit into a nook. Efficient little kiosk that deals solely in teas. All kinds of dried fruits and nuts And they're not alone. There's a couple of shops that do exactly this. In fact, it appears in the same shop there's some redundancy. Some kind of dehydrated avocado. How do they keep it so green? Just bulk candy and chocolate. Another bakery. And a coffee bar to complement it. Pizza kind. It is pizza kind of stuff. Just Belly Claire and Latvian. Question I've asked in every one of the huge markets I've been to all over the world is, what do they do with this produce when it's in such huge quantities? What do they do at the end of the day when some of this starts getting tawdry? Well, they have an interesting solution here. They leave it. Who do they leave it for? Cheapskates like me who come at 5 o'clock in the evening and buy at a very cheap price stuff, or if I come even later when everybody's gone, all the stuff is here for the homeless to pick their way through. The second building has nothing in it. You wonder what kind of competition these outer kiosks give to the inner kiosks. Well, if you're not eating well in this country, you're not even trying. The first was filled, the second was closed. This third is actually an interim lower building that was empty. And so now we'll go into the third of these 4 giant buildings. Entering into this third building, and this looks like it's just the Walmart section. And basically inactive, my guess is. There's no point in going in. I think a seamstress works. Still, people continue to add more kiosks of vegetables, etc. Pallets that these people get their stuff from. Perhaps they can shuttle it out of here into a cooler for the night. Comes more. Here we have a real good view of the inside of these buildings. Cavernous is an appropriate word. But notice the infrastructure for moving air in this place. Kinds of sauerkraut and the beets that are used to make them. And apparently everything is pickled in Latvia for the very obvious reason, when you think about it. Half the year this country is like Jackson Hole, colder than hell and nothing grows. So if you don't pickle it, particularly in the earlier days, you're not going to have anything to eat for most of the winter. Tomatoes, which you haven't seen before. The sauces, this looks like ajo, and there may even be honey right there. Probably some local currants or berries. Dried apples, I think. Probably beets. And I have no idea unless these are onions. Probably pickled. All right. Now what's interesting, in the center you can walk all the way through all 4, actually 5 of these structures, which makes for a neat environment in the wintertime. Irony of ironies, there's a Maxima in the middle of all of this. Astounding array of breads.